So today we are going to solve a problem of traversing from 1 to n using recursion. On top of that, we are going to implement it using a backtracking method. So I have the solution written over here, but I don't think you guys would be able to read it because it is going to be inverted. I am recording from my front camera. I'll just walk you through the code or the pseudo code that I've written over here. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to declare the function with two arguments, n and I, parameters n and I. So I is basically starts from 1 to I implemented the approach in which we are traversing from n to 1 instead of 1 to n. So in this approach, what we are doing is we are basically we basically return if value of I becomes greater than n, and we call the function f again after that. If we first check the if condition, if that's true, we return, or else there is no else case, but it is just a way I'm telling you. Obviously, if it is going to be the else case, because if counters a specific situation, if that is not true, the rest of the code will execute. That is what here is happening over here. So we are basically calling the function again by the same value of n and increasing the value of I by 1 over here. You can see, right? So, and after that execution of function, we are printing the value of I. So for this function, the value of I would be this, which I have passed inside of the parameter on the function's call. So this time, as I initial value of this was 1 and n would be anything, whatever you want to be, however time you want the value of n to get printed. So we are calling that. So that would be the value of I. When this function is going to get called, the value of I is going to get increased to 2, and n obviously going to be the same. It is again going to check the base condition, which is whether I is greater than n or not. If that's not true, then it is going to again call the function and increment the value of I, and for that function the value of I would be 2, right? Whatever the parameter value has, because the increment that we are doing is inside of the arguments that we are passing to the function, so it doesn't bother to the scope of the variable which is defined inside of actual function which is currently getting executed. In that case, whenever the value of I becomes greater than n, the return statement will execute, the function's execution will stop, and then we are going to return from that function. Let's just say if it was 4, so at n value of n was 4 and the increment of I becomes 5, obviously it is going to get incremented after the fourth function call. So it is going to be 5, and the 5 is obviously greater than 4. So the function return statement will execute, and the function which had the value of I equals 5 will traverse back. Let me make a recursion tree to explain you this concept. So we have the recursion tree now. Again, that won't be clearly visible too, as it is inverted already. I told you already. So the thing that we are doing is, first we are calling the function here. First, you are calling the function with 4 and 1 value, the initial values, right? Let me be in the frame. And then in the next step, when the function gets called again, the value of I increments to 2, the value of I increments to 3, the value of I increments to 4, and then the value of I increments to 5, and then execution of the function stops at that right moment, because 5 doesn't whenever the value of I gets more than the value of n, the function stops, it returns. So when the function returns, it will print the last statement, which was print I on the next function which had the value of 4. So the function going to print the value of 4. This function is going to print the value of 4, and then execution of that function also finishes, and it is going to roll back to the last function which had the value of 3, and then again 2, and then again now we have the now you understand the whole logic. Now go away.